Hello, I just wanted to share some literature with you. It's been a while since I shared some literature on this channel, and I found this piece that I written a while ago because I've been having a conversation with a friend of mine about pornography and the effects that pornography has on the psyche, on the individual, on relationships, on society. And it's a contentious issue. People get very defensive when you criticize that which they find extreme amounts of pleasure in. Also, not everybody experiences extreme amount of pleasure in this. It's actually cause for a wide range of very strong emotion. So anyways, I just wanted to share this bit of a sci-fi novel that posthumously might perhaps land upon your shelves, or maybe before I'm posthumous. Anyways, so this is from Dream Fascia, which was written originally in 2005, and then I rewrote it from the ground up in 2015. And I need to get back to it and give it one more pass. Anyhow, this is from chapter 4, I believe, that's titled simply Michael. He'll wake up hounded after evenings at this, where the cloying ache for release leads him to some pictures leading to more pictures, and then before he knows it, he checks the real-time piece to see it's been 2 hours of him watching these old digitals, and he can't finish up because he can't decide on what to come to. 2 hours of this. Another dram of his life clamped off and lost to this debauchery. Only debauchery's too romantic a term. It's just some filtered photos, moving pictures. He despises D33P and thinks Virtuadames miss the point entirely as to why he does this. The physical craving this is intended to abate. Subnote, this is in the future, and things are a little bit different than as opposed to now, but in essence, it's still the same. Representations of women and men at the act of Congress, captured and conveyed via pixels and sound bits, moans and curves and flesh. Fleshless, though, for it's just flashes and vibrations compressed to a certain frequency, and his joining to them his body, his penis manipulated over and over to this repetitive clawing at a feeling, or else a state of sex. Well, not sex itself, but merely sexual. A set of stimuli, huff and pant and groan ad infinitum, ad nauseum, until sex is obliteration. Until he's obliterated in this, in his belief in this. Semen and screamin' and lipstick and motion and porn is just another word for blowing out the fuse inside that pulses all the time pulses thump, thump, thump. But once a bone or two you toss it, then that pulse begins to blaze up brightly, all-consuming in this consummationless consumption, this most voracious form of escape. Debauchery is certainly too romantic a term for this numbing, bestial humping, fubbing, rubbing over and over again, this joining to a feeling, a tingling, his coarse corpse tingling with a feeling fine, a feeling very fine, in fact, in this lowly swapping out of states, this congruent raw epiphany from scene to spunky scene, solo, group, teen, mature, thick, close-up, outdoor, staged or self-produced, in a profusion of variations egging him on in this gross manipulation, coarse and vulgar, exceedingly vulgar, even as he has certain tastes, even as within the indulgence there are certain things he does not indulge in, certain acts or representations of. Well, representations of representations, because of course he can't look on an old digital with his naked eye, but must wear them goggles which abridge the input into something he can heed, bypassing the estranged external body in order that the internal psyche can focus on this stimulus, which psyche ports the porn back into the body by accepting it on an internal enough level as erotic stimulus. Quite convoluted. If you think about it, him sitting on his couch before a box of magnelectric make that's pouring light and sound into his living room that he can only register as something real, or rather real enough, by way of goggles and form-fit plugs which take the raw stimulus and translate it into a signal that his so highly evolved person can apprehend, only to pretend, God, that this is real on a physical enough level so that the physical body can be manipulated in such a way as to offer up to that psyche there on the other side of here something wholly organic and physical and raw in the way that only the body can be raw, in the way that only meat can be raw. But there are certain feelings he doesn't need to feel what he wants to feel by going through this over and over and over again. 2 hours becomes 3, and he's still at it. One hand on the joystick and the other on the remote control. The word is porning, the sociophobe's version of whoring. Flicking through these zettapeta-terabytes of archived sex, naked women, but not really women, and so not really naked, porning. The body sending the psyche its want for sexual stimulus, to which the psyche assents, directing the remote to drum up sex from the box over there that sends its stuff back here to be translated by the techne to the psyche on the other side of here that sends its ratified desire back to this body that gets yearning all the more for more and more satisfaction, delayed by detours through instances recorded years and years ago, that the psyche by its power of pretend collapses upon the immediacy of the manipulated body bloated with the feeling raw, disregardless of the convolutedness of the means. She is all wet between the legs. She is puddling all over the sheets. His sack's all hard and quivering to shoot, to go there, but once he shoots, once he gets there, then he's done for. For the gaining is never so good as the going toward. Oh yeah, now watch her belly jiggle. No, that's too much and not enough, so let's go find another one. And why can't he not do this? A mystery. And me so good at witnessing, at playing the impartial, the removed, because I can become so removed as to release myself for 4 fucking hours to this same over and over repeated few integers: cunt, dick, tits, ass, and, when you find the right one, the right lady who makes the right sounds and faces, then grunt and moan and shiver of the slick, sloppy effect or realization of the self in the frictive fiction, and therefore an elevation of this fiction into a feeling more raw than anything my bravely renewed world can make me feel, or else it's just a gland in the lowly body that he likes, that he needs to suffer to pump him with a certain fluid state of being. Such a paltry equation, such a loathsomely summarizing sensation, condensing the entirety of my vast and complicated and at least partially human self into this porning on for hours, for 5 fucking hours at it. And after sleep, I'll wake up hounded, sure, for looking on the nymphs, or in the least pretending to, with this dogged pair of eyes. Standing in the shower, every time he blinks eyes, the loathsome images writhe about inside him, ride him, deriding his self-respect. The soap suds, but not subcutaneously, and just as there's no end to the stimulus, thus there is no end to the shameful riptide, the, oh God, forgive me, cleanse me, I have to stop this, I have to stop doing this. None of that helps him. It's just the bouncing back, the velocity of return, the pathetic deflation from passion's inflation to the flatline station of his commonality. Self-disgust is simply his psyche separating from itself what it does not belong to. And even as it doesn't help, this furious recanting of the porno realm so furiously entreated. It's a necessary part of the process, and he fears that if he suddenly no longer loathed it, then that means that it has won. Won? Won what? Ownership? Mastery? Sovereignty? Is it incumbent in an addiction that the host of that addiction has states of lucidity, clarity, choice to be something other than the carrier of the addiction, something other than that addiction's instrument? A mystery. A cycle spinning around a center that each spoke of inquiry denies him access to. But still, it must balance itself out. And he can't negate the guilt, and he can't bereave his grievances, but neither need he give his self wholly over to them. A towel absorbs what his skin does not. This is Benjamin Boyce, and pardon if that was raw. Probably not something I should post publicly, but it's literature. Good God, what is literature good for if not going into places that we don't like to talk about with the elevated state of language as a process in and of itself of self-discovery and, I guess, summation into something more than just a body, a languaged beast. Stay tuned for excellent interviews and more evergreen story coming up your way. Good night.